metaphysics. So the first question is, where do we come from? Like, where do we really actually come from?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about this all the time, right? Because, you know, like I mentioned, I love to ask questions and I'm always thinking about these things. So I found this woman, this documentary. I forget her name right now off the top of my head, but I can probably add in the details or something like that. But I watched the documentary and had my brother watch it.
Right.
And this woman, she was talking about the Big Bang Theory. And she was saying that that's what they call it. But the Big Bang Theory, she was saying, was like the way, right? The Big Bang Theory is like how the universe started, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
And they said her explanation was like that was God, and like God wanted to like go and explore the universe. So he burst into like trillions or whatever of like, not even trillions, like an infinite amount of like pieces kind of, right? And he still has this his like glowing light of love in the center of like the universe. But he like exploded out, and then all the explosions, all the little pieces were us. Right? And then it's like, if you just think about like your heart, like if your light is just like in your heart and you're like this one little like thingy, you're just this one little light, and like you're a piece of God. Like you are God in a sense, and God is you, because you're made from, I'm going to say him during this podcast, but I don't really think God necessarily has a gender.
No.
But I'm just going to refer, just so y'all know, I'm probably going to say him, just out of habit. But yeah, what do you think about that, the Big Bang Theory and that?
So my idea,
I like that example you had given me about like the stars too, if you remember. Sorry, I interrupted you though.
I don't know what you're talking about that.
Okay, just go.
Yeah, so my idea of God isn't
like a human.
Not like a human. And I not even a being. It's more of like an energy, a force. Like, and I think when I think of God, I think of like, let me think for a second.
Well, this woman, she was saying that like, so a little background about her. She's like she was like a scientist or something, and she would like hypnotize people, and then she would get people and hypnotize them, and they would like basically go to like other dimensions and like go to other realms.
Right.
And some of them, she said she couldn't like tell them where to go, like she can't direct them, and she would have a prediction of where they were going to go, and then they wouldn't go to where she thought, they would go somewhere else.
Right.
So some people like went back home to God or whatever, and they came back and they said that they were like, it was the most like unconditional love space ever, and like you could only get a teaspoon and be there for a second, or else you wouldn't want to come back.
Right.
And that resonates with me, because I've seen in like a million places about like God's love and it being so unconditional and like so forgiving and so full and so like just like overflowing, overpouring, overwhelming, like not even enough for us to fathom of how much like love that is, you know?
Yeah.
So she said a lot of people have that experience, and they describe what they see as like a big light, like a big white light, a big energy force, kind of like how you said you picture it, right? Rather than like a human. Right. Because we hear that term of like God is we're made of like God's form or something like that. So then there's like an idea, right? And then like we think of Jesus as like a man, right? So there's like a lot of that, especially in like biblical references.
Yeah, I think it's just an easier way to
relate and
people,
understand.
Right?
Yeah,
and it's not meant, in my like opinion, it's not meant for the individual person. It's more meant for like to explain something to a massive amount of people. You know, and even the idea of religion, I don't quite agree with. I will say like a lot of powerful life lessons come from the book.
Yeah, I agree. The Bible does have a lot of stories.
Yes, has a lot of stories and has a lot. It's filled with, if you read the print, like it's filled with a lot of messages, you know, and plenty of information to guide you in the right direction. But there's many people that can use that to manipulate people, you know, and to
Yeah,
tell
like
them
the Catholic Church.
right, to tell them what they should and shouldn't do with their life. And I don't feel like anybody is the judge of that.
Yeah.
Like my life isn't meant to be judged by another human being on earth. Like, no, you're not about to judge me.
No,
You know
I'm good.
No, I'm good. And unless like I do something wrong and I'm being judged in the system, in a judicial system, you're not going to control my life. You know, I'm not going to let you control like my conscious mind.
Yeah.
As an individual.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You know, I don't either. And it divides people. And like if you're a Catholic, then that means that you shouldn't agree with the opinions or the perspective of a Muslim and or a Judaist or a Buddhist. You know, it's this not millions, but this a lot of religions out there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all these different tribes that have their own forms of religion. You know, and I just think that when you're so stuck in your ways, you become very narrow-minded. And like you come to an answer like this is right and this is wrong, you know, but it's not that simple. It's not black and white. We're all complicated human beings. We're complex. So yeah, that's like as far as religion goes. And I remember that analogy that I gave you as far that you were talking about
the stars.
Yeah. So like the way I explained it or the way I envision it is that the same way that I can look up in the sky and see stars and see the universe, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's like that could be a whole reality there. That could be a whole world right there that I just can't see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot,
like,
if you like look up right about dimensions and stuff,
right.
It's like they're all here. They're just invisible. It's like everything's happening at the same time, right? Like it's like mind blowing to like think of like our brain can't like fully grasp the concepts and stuff. But like, right, all the dimensions and stuff are like being experienced at the same time, or even to go as far as to say like the present and the future and the past are all happening at the same time.
Yes,
or like you're
100%.
experiencing, like if you guys believe in past lives, you're experiencing your past life and your present life and your future life all at the same time. But like we can't see it that way.
No.
Right. Or like you said with the dimensions and stuff, like if there's an alternate reality like going in like 4D or 5D or 6D or something like that. And my brother's reference with the stars was saying like if you look up and you see like all the stars, right? But they look like just stars to you,
right.
But like what if they're not like just stars? Like what if there's like life out there or something like that we can't visually see, and then they look back at us and they see the same thing
And they see stars. Yeah.
And they see stars.
But
like
we're here.
Like I was making that reference about like our hearts being the light, right, of God or whatever.
Yes.
And like that shit's mind blowing. Like imagine if they see us as fucking stars in the sky and like we see them, we just can't see it. Because there's a lot of like invisible things, like even if we go and we think about like magnets or like wavelengths of like a microwave and stuff, you can't see it.
No,
that doesn't mean it's not there.
Right. And bacteria, like,
yeah,
there's a whole universe.
Yeah, facts. There's a whole
that we can't see. You know what I'm saying?
A doorknob under a microscope.
Facts. It's incredible. It's so complex, and it is so amazing that I can't even begin to imagine what else is out there. You know what I'm saying? If here on Earth, if here in this room there's bacteria and all these life forms that I can't even see, like the fact that I'm speaking into a microphone and sound is coming out of my mouth and going through this microphone into this technology, into an output, all this stuff, these are waves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and if I can measure the waves that come from my mouth using technology, imagine the waves that come from my body that radiate from my soul.
And all your like even your organs, they all vibrate at different frequencies.
Right.
Like that's why with like crystals and like crystal meditations and stuff like that, you put them on your bodies and you put them on your chakras and stuff like that to align you and to help, like if your energy's off, right, like your organs or whatever, your energy's like not where it needs to be, like crystals have a more stable energy. Like we are affected more. That's why when we're around people, I'm like, oh, I don't like your energy. Right. Like, oh, you're draining me, or oh, like you're fucking with my vibe. My vibe stands for vibration. Like you're fucking with my vibration. But like you know, we put like crystals on us and stuff to like ground us and to get us back to like a more stable vibration, right? And just like you were saying, like your body's made of all these energies. Like you're saying, if my voice is like this, never mind my body,
right? My body and never
and everything
mind, like,
else,
my soul and my like who I am, the entity that I am, my existence. Like, what if I could measure that? You know what I'm saying? I can. I mean, I can't measure it with no technology that we have today, but I have a form to measure it that's inside of me. Like you said, like I can feel somebody's vibe, their energy, the type of like person that they are. Like I'm not judging that person, right? But I can feel.
You can
energy.
feel it. You can feel.
You can feel the energy,
their vibration. Like, you can feel what frequency they're on, especially if you have some background on the person.
Right.
Especially because now, like, you have confirmation, you know, that's not just based off of how you're feeling.
Right.
You can add context
or whatever,
or how they look or something. But that doesn't mean you can't walk into a room and like feel someone's energy anyways, because we do that all the time.
Right.
All the time.
And you like it's funny because we'll walk into a room, you know what I'm saying, and I'll feel some type of way, and then she'll feel some type of way, and then like an hour later, not even an hour, like the next day, whatever we talk about, but like, hey, you feel that energy? Like, yo, I picked up on that too.
Right away, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, I figured I picked up on the same energy, so I know I'm not bugging. And I've had, not just with you, I've had that with other people.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
I was like, yo, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't tripping about that girl. I knew I wasn't tripping about that dude. Like, I knew his energy was off. I didn't say nothing.
Right.
But like down the road, we talk about it the next day or a week later or something, and it randomly comes up.
And it couldn't. It's not even that. It's not even like
that they're bad.
People,
no.
Or whatever. They could be having a bad day. Yeah. They could be going through something, whatever. But I just can feel. You know.
Feel the energy.
I can feel the energy, and I think also, right. It's not necessarily, like you said, not necessarily that they're good or bad or whatever, or that their energy's off. But if they're not vibrating at a higher frequency than I am, then I'm not gonna gravitate towards them.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
That's
or like of an energy vibrating at the same energy or higher. I'm not gonna gravitate towards them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna repel that.
Yeah, because like attracts like.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not gonna want to be around it. That's why you're gonna feel around that type of way.
Exactly. I'm not gonna want to be around people that are vibrating at a lower frequency than me, because like that's gonna make my energy drop too, and you're not gonna want it.
Yeah, and you're like, this feels icky. Like
this just
feels like.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, like I think also two topics, like two things I'm about to talk about. The first is that I think that we attract people that vibrate at the same frequency or if not greater than we are. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like there's a reason in my eyes, and that there's a reason in my eyes why I have the friend group that I have. You know what I'm saying? That I hang around.
Like attracts like.
Right. That I'm hanging around the people that are like-minded and
especially a long-term kind of thing, for sure.
Facts.
Because a lot of your friends are like long-term that you've had for a while. Because you'll get to know people, maybe you'll fall off or something like that, and that happens. But people that stick, there's usually a reason for why you stick and why you vibrate the same. You know, why you get each other and you see eye to eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's something important to pay attention to, because even if you guys, if you're friends with people for a long time, like they may not want to continue to go in that direction. You know what I'm saying? They may get into a relationship with somebody and that takes them away from their true purpose. You know what I'm saying? Or they get stuck in a job, or they just make life decisions that aren't positive for them, and they just haven't figured that out. We're all in this together, you know what I'm saying? And we're all made of the same material. Yeah. But we're all experiencing life different. Yeah. You know, we all have our own perspectives, and we all have our own ideas of reality, sense of reality, in the third dimension.
Yeah. But yes.
I also want to talk about the term vibes, and like this whole idea of speaking about vibrations and things like that. Like I think this is something that is becoming way more like mass.
I was gonna say, I knew you were gonna say like a collective consciousness, like a
collective consciousness,
an increase. It's for sure. But we've talked about this. Even in terms of like the Celestine prophecy. Right. If you guys know what that is, it's like a book. There's also a movie about it, and it talks a lot about like plants and auras and like how everything's alive. And then it also talks about how there's supposed to be like an increase in collective consciousness, like a raise in vibration. And we can see that. Like if you just, I don't know, when you go on Instagram and you see like the things that people are posting, like what we're talking about, and like people being able to like relate and understand to like the conversations we're having now, and like resonate with it. Not everyone will resonate with it, but some people, and more people than not, will resonate in some way with what we're saying.
And it's becoming trendy.
I was gonna say that.
It's becoming trendy. Like
he's always finishing my sentences.
Stuff like, oh, like she's woke, or like there's another terminology that's getting used.
It's totally being trendy, even besides terminology though, just like things like crystals, for example. Like crystals are super trendy now. Like I probably started picking up on them because they were trendy and they like reached me, and I was like, okay, like let me look at this. This is kind of cool. Like a bunch of things like that. And I think it's because like we're all wanting, I don't know, more of like our souls. And I feel like the world, especially 2020, has been crazy. And like, I don't know, I think like we all have like all this love, and I think like we need, I don't know, to like give it, like, you know what I'm saying? I think we need to love ourselves more and like have that emanate out. And in order to like love ourselves more, it's like a lot of the inner soul work and like stuff like that.
I resonate a lot with this message that Nipsey Hussle like left behind with us, as far as like the highest human act is to inspire. And like that is dope.
That's like your motto.
That's like, I love that, because I see, like, when I think of inspiring other people, right, I think about vibrating at such a high frequency that other people like are just gravitating for you. And like the biggest person that I can think of, right, is Bob Marley. Like, and for real though, like his message was all about peace and love and high vibrations. That's all he spoke about. You know what I'm saying? And he moved millions and millions of people. They like know him worldwide, you know, like
global.
And it wasn't like he was just talking about good vibes. You know, he was just,
and love.
He was a Rasta dude, like dreadlock, like, and he knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? And he knew the type of message and positive vibes that he wanted to give out to the world. And he just radiated.
Yeah, and everyone was drawn in.
Yeah. And like,
and it's a healing. Like a lot of his music and everything, like it raises vibrations. It makes everyone feel good.
100%.
Yeah. I do think that people, like you being your authentic self attracts people, and it's like you being your authentic self inspires other people to be their authentic selves.
Facts.
Yeah. And I know that even for me, like people I follow on Instagram, for example, like just like certain people, and even like my friends and stuff, like when they're being great and they're being themselves, like I'm like, oh, I love it. Like I'm like, oh wow, that energy it just excites me. Like it just excites me. I love to see them grow. I love to see everyone like being themselves and putting themselves out there and being vulnerable. And like people like reality TV show because it seems like raw and real and vulnerable and open. That's why they're so attracted to it. That's why people like surveillance and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, but you have to have courage to be yourself and to like not be fake and to not fit into the shoes that people are trying to make for you. But when you are able to like get past that fear and like do that and, you know, find yourself and be yourself and decide who you want to keep being or who you want to become and like work towards that, that inspires you and it inspires other people, and it just like rotates. It just like rotates. It just rotates. And like I love it. And that's your favorite.
Because you're putting love out into the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and your true self and your vulnerability and like,
because I think the way I look at it, right, with stuff like that, right, is that it starts somewhere inside you, right? It starts with loving yourself. Right. And the more you love yourself, the more that your love expands, you know, the more that your light shines. And like the more and more and more you love yourself and you love others, then they can become part of that light. You know what I'm saying? And just them being around you inspires them to be more. Right. But at the same time, there's those people that are like low frequency, you know, or those people that don't want you to shine because they just haven't figured out how to be as courageous as you. You know,
like the projecting.
But I think those people honestly, like, they'll repel. You know, they'll repel. They won't. You won't really be affected by them. You know.
No.
They'll be stuck in their ways, and it'll affect them, but then it won't affect you because you'll be able to see through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be like, yeah, I already know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, and
you're protected. Like, we're all so protected and guided and loved.
Facts.
You know, by like forces that we can't even see. So like people being haters, or people wanting to drag you back down, or people not wanting to let you shine or see you shine because it makes them feel insecure about something that they can't even recognize they're insecure about in the first place. Like, so what? Like, that shouldn't make you dim your light or not like be vulnerable and not grow and just stay stuck, because you're just gonna stay stuck with everyone else. Like, no, you're gonna expand and grow and love yourself, and that doesn't, you can love them too. You can love them through it. You know. But
there's another quote. I'm good at quotes.
Go ahead. I love quotes too. I love writing in quotes.
There's nothing enlightened about making yourself small so other people don't feel insecure around you.
Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing enlightened about that. You know.
I agree.
It's like, if anything, it's the wrong thing to do. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to let your light shine.
You have to. Because it gives people the courage to do it too.
Facts. Yep.
And like, don't you want that? Don't you want everyone to like shine too and like be themselves too?
Yep. Though that happens, the more love is going to be spread out into the world, and the happier everyone's going to be. Yeah. I think like the problem, especially in America and with capitalism and these ideas, is that like, you have to step on someone to get there. You know, it's like, and you don't. Yeah, you don't. You really don't. You just have to be yourself. You know, and you just have to like radiate. You bring the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the good energy will come to you, right? But there's this idea where like you have to be alone, and it's about you, and it's like these are all selfish ideas that condition you. As we grow up, you know, like we're taught, and like how we were brought up in school and everything, we're graded individually. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's a whole nother idea. Like, the fact that we're graded based off of like IQs. I don't even know who developed this damn IQ or whatever. IQs, you know SATs, like we're graded since we're like 5, like, and then that determines your worth. Right. I know this I mean, I was gonna say should be another podcast episode, but like I have to talk about it. Like, that's just crazy. Like, we get graded for everything at such a young age, and it conditions you. Like, I'm still being graded. I'm 22 and people are still grading me, and I'm like, for what? Like, this does not determine my worth, period. Like, I could fail this class and it does not like say anything about my intelligence, but it takes a long time to learn that, if you even do. Right. And then it's like, not only are you being graded by outside forces like teachers and like systems and stuff of grading, but you're being graded by your parents. Your parents are yelling at you about your grades and making you feel like you're not good enough, you know. And then not only that, but a lot of times your parents are projecting their insecurities on you, and they have a vision for your life and what's best for you, you know. And foreign parents do that a lot. Like, I can't speak for American parents because I don't have American parents, but I have like foreign parents, like my mother and stuff like that. My dad don't really care, but my mom, like, she growing up, like, she had her ways, you know. She still does, like, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. Now that we're adults, she's not as imposing, because she knows we're gonna do whatever we want anyways. But yeah, like those, and we've already broke out of that, you know. Like, we've already had these tough conversations with my mom. Like, we've already had these moments with my parents, at least, where I've challenged them, you know, going to the army. Like, I'm on my own now. There's nothing you can do. I already signed a piece of paper. There's nothing you can do. At this point, you just gotta love me and support me. Or if you don't want to love me and support me, I'm gonna be sad. But I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah. You know, thank God that was never the case. But still, like, we need to, as people and as individuals, we need to challenge our parents. You know, like, if our parents aren't.
Yeah, and have those important conversations. Yeah,
and put them on game. Like, teach them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're learning a whole different generation than them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, and we're dealing with things, even like the internet. Right. Like, you know, people can make so much money just off of like the internet alone, off of different platforms. Like, they didn't have that growing up. Like, that was not the case. Like, things are different.
Yeah. Many of them don't even understand how to use technology like how
not the way that we do. No, like, with marketing, even creating like a business or getting brands to pay you for this and that, or like whatever marketing, reaching, you know, people or whatever, like it's not like they don't know it. It's just not their fault.
Right.
But like you can teach them, and that doesn't mean like you should just listen to them because they think what's best and like it's what's best. Like I truly believe that like you should follow your own intuition. Like you have all the answers inside, and like we're all here for a purpose, and like you know your purpose like in your own soul. Like can't no one tell you nothing.
And if you haven't figured out what you're really good at and what your purpose is, you need to go out there and experience
and
life. Try fucking everything.
Yeah, you have to try things, and I'm in the process of doing that for sure.
Try, fail, try, fail, try, fail, but keep trying.
Yeah,
and then eventually you're
all successful people, they always talk about how many times they failed. I had to fail and got back up. I didn't get signed. I did this many times. No.
Yeah,
and then they still get to where they need to go. And the failures teach you lessons too. Everything teaches you lessons, all your experiences, like to get you to where you need to go.
Right.
So there's always value in it.
It's always preparing you for like who you're going to become.
Yep. Okay, well, we're back. Still on metaphysics and still talking about that woman that I don't remember her name right now. But one of the things that she brought up was like different planets being like schools, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't like that analogy.
And Kalvin hated this analogy, but I like it.
I didn't hate it. It's just too simple for me.
Well, let me explain it.
All right.
Let me explain it to our friends so they, you know, y'all can make your own, you know, opinions. But so she was saying that like before we come here, basically that like we sign a contract in a sense. Like I'm not saying it's a physical contract on paper, but we sign a contract. Like we kind of pick what experiences we want to have, and we kind of choose our family and that kind of thing before we come here. Choose our parents and like our family and stuff before we come here, and decide like what lessons we want to learn, because I feel like our souls are here to develop and to learn and to gain lessons and to just kind of like basically like level up, right, closer to like enlightenment basically. So this woman, I hate having to call her this woman, but I have to look and see what her name is, but she was talking about like choosing our lives before we come here, and how Earth is like one of the hardest schools, and that our brains get like wiped basically before we come here, which is why we may have like a feeling of like, why am I here? Like I don't belong here. Like you know, like I know I felt that way. Like I've definitely felt like I don't belong here. Like I don't fit in. Like there's something off. There's something wrong. I've definitely felt like that like my whole life. And I know I've talked to you about this, and you said that you didn't feel that, but I've definitely felt like, not in a way that I'm like depressed, but definitely in a way where I'm just like, I don't know, like there's just something like weird. Like what's my purpose? Why am I here? Like,
oh, I have those questions all the time. Like I'm always, like I always question why I'm here. I always question like,
but mine is like, I don't feel like this is home. Like it's like I feel like I was put here, and I'm just like, you know what I'm like. I
get what you're saying. Like you don't feel like, I get what you're saying a little bit. You feel like there's so much more out there, and that like this isn't.
Like I feel like I've lived multiple lives, and like my soul has like, I don't know, like you know how you've talked about how your soul like feels like it knows certain things.
Yeah.
That there's no way that you would have necessarily known, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I've had moments in my life. Well, like my whole life pretty much, like there's things that I know and things that I feel that don't come from anywhere.
Yeah,
like it doesn't really feel like I don't
like your brain was wiped. Like you're trying to remember something. Like I felt like that, and a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying, like even as a collective, like we're all kind of waking up, we're all kind of starting to remember like that we're divine beings, and like that we're bigger than, you know, we're bigger and we're connected and we're like intertwined. You know what I'm saying? We have energy, and this has energy, and like, you know, that kind of idea, like definitely with like the whole remembering thing, like, you know, and like tying it back to what I was saying about like the Earth school, and like her saying that like we don't remember, like basically like our brains get wiped, and like there's different schools and like different lives that you live, and you kind of like, Earth is like one of the last ones because it's one of the most challenging, probably because you don't remember anything and you just feel like, what the fuck.
You build karma while you're here,
and you build karma while you're here,
you come back over and over again,
and you're supposed to learn your lessons and keep it pushing, but a lot of us don't learn our lessons, or we learn some of them and we don't learn all of them, and we come back to learn the rest of them. And like, life here is hard, like,
we have free will,
and she was saying like, not all planets or whatever, or schools, whatever, have free will. And I've heard that before. Like, I've heard like different dimensions, like fifth dimension and stuff like that, their free will doesn't exist. Like, it just is what it is. Like, it just is what it is. Like, whatever's written is what's written, period. But like, here we have free will, we can decide, but we also don't remember. So it's just like this big like mess. Like, Earth is like this big like mess, but it's not, I don't like calling it a mess, because there's a lot that's so good and so great about like where we are and like our planet and stuff like that. Right. So I don't want to say that necessarily, but yeah, bro. Yeah,
that's crazy. I don't know, when you explained it just now, it made more sense.
It resonated.
Yeah. Then when I heard it the first time, because I've always had a different kind of perspective. I had like more of a more like, because there was she also said, like, remember, she goes, hey, that this room didn't exist until we collectively came and
decided to
be here. So it's like, I have that kind of outlook on things, more so that like it's my choice to be here and like with you and like be living the life that I'm living now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if it wasn't because I was growing, it wasn't because like I was on my living in my purpose, essentially, then I don't think I would be here. You know what I'm saying? Because I could be, honestly, I could be anywhere that I want as long as I can mentally get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as I can think of it and dream it and put intention behind it, I can get there. Yeah. Wherever it is.
Yep. 100%.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I feel like I'm here for a purpose or whatnot. But I understand a little bit what what you were saying about how like feeling like you don't belong, or I don't really necessarily feel like I don't belong. Yeah. But like,
I know you don't, but because even when I think about like our dynamic growing up and stuff, like, you've always been the one that's like, I'm extroverted, like I'm a people person, but I also have like introvert side to me too, which a lot of people do. But you're like, I don't know, you like to go and like, I don't know, you like to go and create like relationships and friendships with like everybody. And like, I kind of do too on one hand, and the other side, I just don't want to at all. And it's like, it's not that like I don't like want the connections and stuff. Like, I do want the connections. I do genuinely enjoy talking to people. I'm a big people person. I love it. Like, it's so fun for me to do it. But at the same time, I have like that piece of me that like, I don't know if like was stemming from like insecurity or something like that, that just didn't want to like break down those walls, or like, I want you to be this close, but like this only, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, arm's length.
Like, I don't want you that close to me. And I've definitely experienced that, especially with like friendships growing up. And like, you've had the same friends for like mad long. And like, I don't know, like, I would see things.
Yeah, but that's because I've had the same approach too, in a sense, and not more so that like,
I don't know. We've had.
I don't keep people away, but I just don't adapt to other people's. Like, I don't fit into other people's lives. It's like we either fit together or we don't. You know what I'm saying?
But I agree with that. But then I'm like, oh, I don't fit. Like, I'm gonna remove myself, or I don't think I'll fit, so I'm not gonna try. It's like kind of been like that.
Okay.
You know.
Kind of.
I don't know. It's always been weird, but like, I've definitely had that like experience where it's like, but it's weird because it's like, I still like, you know, I'm still like so happy and bubbly, and like, I love people. I love talking to people, like I said, you know, but I don't know. That's just been like the way I've experienced it. Like, I'm like, damn, like, I've always asked like, where did I come from? I've had this like weight, I guess, of like, why am I like, what's like, what is the reason? And I don't know, maybe it's because I went to the predominantly white school since I was in 6th grade, and like that created like insecurities and stuff because I was different than everyone else or whatever. Like, that could have definitely been part of it. And like you were in public school, you went to BC High for a little, but then you went to Braintree High, and like
I mean, still then it wasn't very diverse.
Oh, like, Braintree High?
No,
I don't know that much about
B. Okay. So what I would say about like, public school, like Braintree Public School wasn't diverse. Like Braintree High was a little bit more diverse because they had MECO students, like coming in from the inner city, like black kids and stuff like that. And I kind of stuck around with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But still, like there was a lot of aspects of the school that was racist. You know, like because the black kids would always hang around in certain areas. Like those were the areas that was the most monitored.
Yeah.
You know
yeah, I know what you're saying.
So it was like that's just things like that. You know. But yeah, like I think I was way too far from this because it sounded like I sound mad far away right now. And then you know what I'm saying?
Well, we'll see how the recording comes. But I could still hear you in my headphones.
Okay. But yeah. What were we talking about?
We were talking about like fitting in, or like you was talking about like METCO and like diversity within your public school they went to.
Yeah, I never really cared about fitting in, honestly. Like I can't remember a time that I tried.
Yeah.
To fit in.
I definitely did. Maybe because I'm a girl, or maybe not. I don't know.
I think there's a lot more pressures when you're a female.
Yeah, I definitely remember trying to fit in, especially, well, in a lot of places of my life. I definitely tried to fit in when I was in like middle school and high school at Thayer, and like I had a group of girlfriends, rich white girlfriends, basically, you know, to be blunt about it, that I ended up kind of like distancing myself from and letting go of, because I didn't really feel deeply connected, and like things would bother me that they didn't understand, or like I would see them be upset about things that I was like, why are you upset about this? Because my problems are way different than your problems, and like the problems of my black friends and my, you know, my whatever, like are way different than these problems, you know. And that was like really hard for me, so I like separated myself from that, and then I eventually went to BC. But before that, I did have like a group of like my black friends. Again? Oh, it's you. Look at his whack ringer.
Yeah, I'm not answering that.
This is like when your professor's phone rings in class and you're like, answer it. I dare you. Answer it so I can text the rest of the class. Yeah, I was saying, we were just talking about fitting in and stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So I do remember some like aspects. So like I remember I would like make black jokes. For real, dead ass. Like I would
make black jokes in school.
I'd make black jokes like
for what purpose though?
Just to like make the white kids laugh.
Why?
Type shit. Like it was like more because I didn't really
like
feel connected to them, so I would like do it so that we could laugh and like have like some type of connection where we could like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I remember times where things like that, like, because race was such like a weird topic. Like it's something that people don't like want to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even when you're an adult, like people don't want to fucking talk about race. You know, because it's loaded. So as a kid, like we would just try to like make fun or whatever, or laugh about our differences. And the way like one way that I would try to like do that is by just kind of like not being so serious about race. You know, like I didn't even know how to react to the N-word. Like growing up, like at first it was always like fight over it, you know, because that was my immediate reaction was just to retaliate with violence,
right? You
know, and then violence got me into trouble. So and then it became more like stupid shit, like giving white boys the fucking pass to say the N-word.
Oh no.
You know, and just shit like that, because who's gonna educate me on it?
Yeah. You had to learn that by yourself.
Like, who's gonna educate me on it? And I had to learn that by myself. And then I realized, like, nah, fuck that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, nah, fuck that. And I feel like a lot of like people of color like go through that. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't like, because their identity has been stripped away from them. They don't really know how to react to like to racism.
And it's a lot of like that whole idea of like fucking, oh, black people are aggressive, or like white people playing the victim,
right?
Playing the victim out their ass. And like I literally wrote a paper about this 2 days ago for one of my classes. Wow. In terms of like inequality in education, like white professors and stuff like that, and like white privilege, and like just like asking a white person the question of like, oh, if you got to be reborn, like what would you come like, would you come back white? Would you come back black? Every white person is going to say, I'm going to come back white.
Right.
And then the fact that you're going to say that you're going to come back white means that you have some type of understanding of your privilege.
Right. Exactly. That's
you have some or else you would come back black. You wouldn't understand.
Or like you wouldn't really have a perspective on
you wouldn't have a perspective, but you're going to choose white because you know that it's better. Better in the sense of easier.
Yeah.
Better in the sense of like, you're not dealing with systemic oppression and racism all the time. And like, I don't know, shit is just easier.
There's even black people that said that they would rather come back white just because life would be easier if they were.
Yeah. But it makes sense for black people to know that.
Yeah, to know that, right.
Because they'll see it. And like white people will see it too, but they'll pretend that they don't see it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I was seeing in school and stuff. And I guess like, that's why I'm like, I don't really want to be friends with these white girls.
Yeah.
And it's like, mom will tell me like, oh, you know, she'll tell me, you know, not like white people and stuff. And I'm like, it's not that I don't like white people. I'm not saying every white person's racist and stuff, but like, there's still, I can't necessarily be friends with you if you're not able to understand these concepts, because I understand them so deeply and they bother me so deeply that like, if you're going to be around me, I need you to have at least like a decent amount of understanding of like what's going on in the country and like what's really realistic for people like me and people that look like me, for people that have darker skin than me for sure. Right? Like, I just can't.
What really gets me is this is like when it's almost like black people are complaining. It's like, why does everything have to go back to slavery? Why do you have to
pull the race card?
Why do you have to pull the race card? Like, why? Like
no one's pulling the race card.
Yeah,
like this is really happening. Like this is like some real shit. Like why? No, but you have to like sit in like that white like vibe of like, oh, woe me. And it's just like, why do you have to be like, woe me, when like it really is woe all these other people that are consistently suffering. But like, I don't know. And there's that idea of like, if you give like black people like better things, that like they're gonna go and like take from you. But it's not about taking from you. Like it's just about it being equal. Right. Like, let's just equal the playing field and let's see who wins. You might win. Go for it. Nah. Nah, not really.
Look at hip-hop.
That's why they keep us down. I know.
Look at fucking hip hop.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, trust me, I know.
That shit came from the Bronx, when the Bronx was literally burning. You know what I'm saying? Like, teenagers developed that. I mean,
that's why they keep us down. Cause we're lit. We're lit.
Yeah, man.
And black people and people of color work 10 times as hard just to get to where the white people automatically get. Yeah. So never mind if we're at an equal stance. They're not going to want us to be at an equal stance. Yeah. And then we can even go and talk about like the genes and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, we have all these damn episodes and everything's just connecting, but you know, the dominant recessive gene kind of thing. Yeah. You know, all of that.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of in a weird place with race right now. Why? Because I'm starting to see like through the bullshit, as far as like there's a lot of things that have to do with like white people not knowing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think that's like on a really low level.
It's the individual.
Yeah, it's
like,
way
bigger than the individual.
It's way bigger than the individual. Yeah, in the individual, but like more so like those are just regular human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really have like, they're not getting educated on these topics. Like, we're not getting educated on these topics as black people. You know, the reason why me and you are kind of like talking about this is because we've been doing our own research. You know what I'm saying?
Or I'm a sociology major at BC.
Exactly.
But not if I was in marketing, I don't learn none of this.
Exactly.
So
or in growing up in school, you don't learn nothing like about this.
No,
like,
no,
in
definitely
society, people are scared to talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, like no one, you're not going to, I'm not hearing no race discussions or nothing like that. Like,
no, and if it is, it's just for that 1 hour, and then no one talks about it after. Nothing is actually done about it.
Exactly. And everyone's kind of scared and nervous to even say anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like who's gonna be the one to start it off? You
Yeah,
know?
who's gonna say something and then have the black person like have to check you, and then
facts.
and then now you're gonna feel like, oh my god, woe me. Like,
yeah, and let's
and now the black person
perspective.
and the tokenism and like all of the stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's
a lot to unpack. That's why, you know, we probably have to do specific episodes or something about specific topics.
Right.
But
I just be like, it's really about like the politicians. You know, it's really about the white people that are in power, the white people that have money.
definitely.
You know, because those are the people that are fucking racist. Those are the people that are like,
well, yeah, that's where like systemic stuff comes from,
right?
Because you're in charge of like and the judicial system and like the funds for education and like schools and like a million things, housing, whatever.
And the thing is, like, it's those people and they're all like in cahoots. They're all like on the same fucking page. Facts.
So
like that's what it is. Because like,
it's so messed up.
If you were in a position of power, right, and like you had friends in the position of power over other people, like why would you ever give that up? You would just build on that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like that. Those same people that are the ones that put those systems in place are the same people today that are doing the same type of stuff. You know, like their families and people that they can fucking manipulate and put in power and make it look like to us that it's different people and that, you know what I'm saying? But in reality, it's the same fucking people. It's the same people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then everyone else is over here stuck playing a race game. Like, oh, fuck white people, fuck this, fuck that. Like, in reality, no, it's fuck white people with money. Fuck white supremacists.
Yeah, but isn't that in my whole private school? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but not just that. Like, it's that's not
money.
even.
I'm talking about
power,
big money, like money and big power,
and banks.
Like, we're talking about politicians and
and
bank owners and fucking.
I know.
Like billionaires.
I know.
You know, that's the enemy.
Yeah.
In my perspective, like that, those are the people I'm looking towards. Like,
I think it's a lot though, because it's like I still can't give passes. I still can't give passes because if I'm thinking, even if I'm thinking like, I don't know, elementary school, high school, like, you know, and I'm just thinking about the dynamics just within like a school system and stuff. Like, there's still things that need to be like fixed and handled and stuff like that. You know, that is kind of on the individual base, but the biggest change to affect the biggest amount of people definitely comes from like the people that are in the power.
Well,
in power.
The way I look at it is like shit falls downhill. That type of like understanding, right? So like
I was like, oh, what are you talking about?
So like shit rolls downhill. So like it comes from the top, right? So if the people in power are a whole bunch of racist people, right? They're gonna do shit so that the rest of the people at the bottom are gonna be racist too. You know what I'm saying? Like shit goes downhill. The real evil motherfuckers are the ones with the money and the power.
Are you talking about Donald Trump?
No, not necessarily Donald Trump, because like I'm in a weird spot with Donald Trump too, because I'm getting all this fucking information from the internet that I really can't say Donald Trump's a bad guy or Donald Trump's a good guy. I can honestly say that because
we might have to cut this out.
No, we actually got to talk about this because I see. No. Hear me out. Because I remember when Donald Trump's first election came up. I remember back like 2016, I think, right, when he got elected as president, right? And I remember his campaign, and I remember thinking like, I have never in my life seen anybody run for president and say the fucking shit that this guy says. I've never in my life like. And then the fact that he got elected blew my mind. It didn't make any fucking logical sense to me.
No, it didn't.
Right? So that was a huge red flag, because during the election, I was like, yo, like, I kind of want him to get elected, because if he gets elected and turns around and fucks up the whole game, like, oh, ha ha ha, joke's on you, y'all motherfuckers are all racist, I just did this to get elected. And then like really
and now you could see everyone who's racist,
right, exactly, and
then
shit. And then like
actually, now we actually have to fix shit,
right. That's what I was hoping, but then like he kept going and was still fucking saying bullshit, right? And so then I lost that faith, right? But then like now I'm thinking about it more, and I'm just like, well, the media attacks the fuck out of this guy. Like but
he controls the media ultimately anyway, so it's like he wants it to happen. Like,
do you believe he controls the media?
Well, I maybe not directly, but I do think like the media is controlled.
I think it's controlled, but I don't think it's controlled by like the government. I think it's controlled by people like corporations, people with money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that can fund stuff. You feel me? Like I don't.
Yeah, but certain things, like the whole thing with Donald Trump and coronavirus and stuff, like if he has coronavirus, like I don't know, he would want, if he had a coronavirus or has whatever and didn't want people to know, people wouldn't know about it. So that kind of thing is what I'm thinking. Like obviously people still have freedom of speech, and like he can't, control everything. And if something gets released, like he might not even know it was in the works. You know what I'm saying? Right. So he can't control everything. Goes to the president. Every type of news story and news whatever goes to the president. But he's been
talking about fake news since the fucking beginning.
I don't know, bro. I don't like this man though. He does a lot of really fuck shit though.
Honestly, I don't fuck with him either. I don't. I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to justify his actions, or like I'm just trying to look at it from a different lens. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't want to just jump on the fuck Donald Trump bandwagon when I know nothing. I personally have never looked at any policies that he's put through, but I've heard of other people argue points about how he's put policies through. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that a lot of like Democrats came from the fucking South. Like the Confederate are Democrats, right? Democrats are the reason why black people today are in the position that they're in. Like this whole idea of welfare and the fact that you can't have a male figure in the household, like these are all crutches that we have in the black community, and they just give us because I'm black, I say that I'm not from a community like that, because my mom worked hard to put me in a better community where I can get a better education. But still, like the people of color in these low income poverty communities like are on a crutch. Welfare and food stamps, like
but they're intentionally there to keep them down too.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. It's intentionally there to keep them down, and like their schools are underfunded, and it's just like their communities are heavily policed, and all of these things, like it's all by design. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's been by design by the Democrat Party. They're the ones.
See, I don't know about all that, but not because I don't believe you, but I haven't done my own research.
Yeah, politics is crazy. We might not even have we might not have to talk about politics.
I hate politics, bro.
Yeah, everyone has their opinion about who's the best, like who's the best guy, who's this, who's
maybe
that.
We cut it out.
Fucking ideas about like
people are gonna be like, I can't listen because
so complex.
Yeah,
ideas about fucking.
And it's also about like, if you don't know, you don't know. And then if you don't want to know and you don't go do the research, which most people won't do, then you're just gonna be like, oh, right, you said that and now I don't like you.
And people just like believe everything that's on the news, everything that's like being fed to them on a silver spoon. Like, this is the truth, here, swallow it. Check it out.